to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, ain't no Chico, just be smooth.
So much. All right, so we want to bring up our special guest, and you guys may know her as Zap, but her name is Haley Zapolski. Y'all give it up. Come through. Have a seat, Zap. I'm gonna switch seats. We'll come over here, switch it up a little bit. Thanks for coming through, Zap.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
Oh my gosh. Y'all don't know this, well maybe you do. We're running buddies. We used to be running buddies. We haven't run in a minute. But, and I met Zap here at the Entrepreneur Center. And Zap has, I used to call her the desk police at the Entrepreneur Center. You know, because if you were sitting at a desk but you were not paying for a desk, she would call you out most times. But anyway, Zap is making a name for herself. She's got her own personal brand, especially in the tech community, and I love what she's doing because she's bringing people together to network and build relationships and add value to our city, I believe, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I really wanted to get Zap up here to talk about some things that she's seeing going on in terms of trending in the tech community in Nashville, emerging technology, and what's coming around the corner. So I first want to start out and talk about your role. What are you doing now? I know you're at Nashville Software School, so what exactly are you doing?
Sure. So, yeah, we're at Nashville Software School. We are a tech boot camp. What's really important to know, we're the biggest producer of tech talent in Middle Tennessee. We'll graduate 500 students this year alone. My job is to make sure those students get hired. So we have web developers, data analysts, data scientists, UI, UX developers, and I talk to the companies big and small about sort of what it looks like to hire our students. Luckily, given the talent market right now, I get to be a very popular woman. So tech is only a growing industry in Nashville, and our students, we have an above 90% placement rate for every cohort. Average starting salary is $62,000 a year. For a lot of folks who don't have professional work experience or don't have college degrees, it can be pretty transformational. But yeah, that's my role.
Yeah, and what is the role called again?
Manager of Employer Engagement.
Okay, and so that's pretty strong, 90%?
Yeah, so typically, like, a cohort is 25 students, and the goal is every single cohort is above 90% placement rate. So I think on total average, don't quote me on this, although I think it's being reported, it's 94%. So 94% of our students, like, you think about college, like, you probably graduated college and they were like, sayonara, like, good luck, like, there's a career center, but they don't really care in the intense way that Nashville Software School. The number one thing we measure ourselves by is, it's not, of course it's about what we teach, but what we teach needs to land you the job. Like, and it's built into our financial model. Half of our students essentially come for close to free, and they actually only pay us back, like student debt. They only pay their student debt back if and when they get the job. Yeah. So think about, like, we're a school where you don't get the job, you don't pay money. Which, yeah, I think a lot of universities would go under quite quickly if that was the case.
So how long is it, like a typical cohort or class?
So it depends. Our biggest program is our web development program. It's 6 months full-time, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or then 12 months part-time. So it's Tuesday, Thursday nights, and then Saturdays from like 9 to 2. But then our data analytics is 4.5 months full-time, 8 months part-time. So it depends, but ultimately, no program is over a year long. Like, the longest program we have is 1 year.
Do y'all have a cybersecurity course, or?
We actually don't have cybersecurity.
Okay.
Yeah, there is another, there is cybersecurity boot camps though, and there is other boot camps locally that teach cybersecurity.
You don't want to name them? She's like, I ain't calling out my competition. So you've been over at Nashville Software School for how long?
A year now.
Oh, cool, it's been a year?
It's been a year, it feels weird. I think last time I was at the venue was my going away party. Like this time last year, dead serious.
Yeah, no doubt. So you loved it over here, it seems like.
Yes, I mean, I think Nashville Software School is a hidden gem in town. Like, I think one of the biggest issues of the 21st century truly is retraining our talent pool. Like, what people are learning in their K-12 education is not preparing them for 21st century careers oftentimes, and especially, no offense, their higher education. Like, we're seeing just so many of our students have college degrees that really didn't open up any pathways for them to find kind of like family sustaining jobs. And so the reason we exist is because the higher education is not graduating students at the rate in which the job market is hiring them. And I just think I think it's an important job to be doing right now.
Yeah, so given that you guys have such a high percentage in terms of placement, you know, what's the scene like? Because to me it seems super competitive, like in the tech space.
Yeah.
So how are you kind of navigating that?
You know, the job scene, like for people
Yeah, the
to get
fact that
jobs.
it's so competitive. I mean, I guess, so, because from my perspective, a lot of people are moving here and taking jobs, and so the folks that are living here, going through a class or the school, they got to compete with folks coming in and all that stuff. Is that the case, or no?
I mean, no matter what, like, people are going to move to Nashville to take these jobs. But if you sort of run it by the numbers, like Amazon is bringing 8,000 jobs here, Oracle is bringing over 6,000, Capgemini, which is another tech company, is bringing 2,000. And these are just the ones we know about. Like, these are the ones who have come and announced this so far. Like, I don't know, Amazon's pretty much a trendsetter. Like, other companies are coming just to service the Amazons of the world and be consultants to them as well, in a way. And importantly, too, I think they are attracting top talent from other places who will go work at these bigger companies, but then after a few years, most likely leave and start their own company. So I think like there's incredible opportunity of, you know, these companies are moving to town, but that talent moving to town is going to then start their own company and hire probably more locally, because it's a little bit more intense. And of course, there's totally remote startups, but a lot of startups, at least that early stage team, like those first 10 people have to be kind of drawing things on a whiteboard, figuring it out. So I think there's definitely, from my perspective, I see placements in, like I said, the web development space, data analytics. It's hot. Like, I can't imagine. It's tough to get that first job, but it typically takes our students literally 5 weeks to get a job. Like, that's the average, which is not that long. But there's also so many opportunities for folks who aren't technical in their expertise, but just want to go work at a tech industry. Like, I love talking to people about what it looks like being a product manager, or customer success, or being a technical recruiter, or working in operations at these companies. Like, I just think there's a plethora of opportunity, and tech is a great industry to be in right now for like job security and for upward mobility.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, given that you're not, like, you don't have a tech background,
No.
you just have a people
I took
background.
one computer science class in college.
What was your major in school?
Econ. I always dated the engineers though. I would like go to the engineering campus.
Of course you did.
They just thought it was way cuter than like the other majors, so I like that.
Wait, what?
Like the engineering guys are the nerds, so I was like kind of cool over there, and less cool at the business school is my joke.
She had to explain her joke. Okay.
Yeah, that went over Bill's head. Okay.
I'm a little slow sometimes. Okay, so listen. So now I see you, Zap, for I guess about a year or so. You've been doing these tech events, right? What do you call them?
Nash Tech.
Nash Tech, right? And so, tell us why you started it, what the purpose of it is, and where it's going.
Yeah, so Nash Tech is a grassroots community on a mission to grow the startup ecosystem here in Nashville, Tennessee. I actually was working at the Entrepreneur Center, which is an awesome organization, but I felt like there's a missing piece when it came to just focusing specifically on high-growth, scalable technology startups. And there were so many people moving here, and there was sort of a subset of the entrepreneurship community already here. But here in EO, that's a ton of founders, but it's only probably 5% that actually started technology companies that had to raise capital, build a whole product. It's a different sort of game. So my goal, it started with probably 30 people at a brewery hanging out, because entrepreneurship is a lonely job, and no one really teaches you how to do it, so you have to like hang out with other entrepreneurs. And ultimately, when you think about startups, ecosystem is incredibly important because for a company to succeed, they need to have capital, advisors, great talent, and just almost like a huge community around them supporting other resources. And so my goal has been to build that, and I mostly do it through events, workshops, do a lot of educational. I do a ton of just like, let's talk for 30 minutes, you tell me what you need, I will connect you with someone who will answer your questions. I can answer very few questions, but I always know someone smarter than me. And then hopefully next month I'll actually be launching a little platform where we'll do a monthly update of Nashville companies raising capital. And so anyone who's interested in seeing like who is raising money in Nashville, where are opportunities for early stage investment, we'll be able to check that out. And if you don't want to invest in them, it's a great place to look at companies who might be hiring soon or might be growing if you want to go work at a startup.
So
We do fancier places now. We do rooftops.
Oh, for real? It's every month though, right?
It depends, to be honest.
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of like whatever. Like right now, a big thing I'm doing is our next event, which hopefully, fingers crossed, will be announced next week. But we know the content. We're just figuring out the venue. We're actually going to be creating a DAO as an entire community, like during the workshop. Does anyone know what I actually would love to know. Does anyone know what a DAO is? Raise your hands. All right, we've got 4. Okay.
And folks from Silicon Valley.
Here's like an important takeaway tonight, actually, like if I could teach you anything about what that entails. Okay, so Tennessee was the second state after Wyoming to legalize DAOs. DAOs is the Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Pretty much all that means is instead of registering your business as like an LLC or a C Corp in Delaware, you can now in Tennessee register your business on the DAO. And it pretty much creates this whole new type of, as a DAO, it creates this whole new type of business entity where essentially it lives on the blockchain, but also it's almost like a community can run a business now. Ultimately, I'm not an expert. Like I said, I just know the experts. I'm like the organizer of the nerds, but our next event, like creating a DAO out of an event, will be...
So that's what you'll be talking about at the next event?
Yeah. For people who like nerd out about this stuff, they're like, that's so sick, you're creating a DAO at the event. I'm like, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, but do you consider yourself a nerd?
I consider myself bullied in high school, but extroverted. So I was like hung out with the nerds, but I wasn't as smart as them probably, but we like all got the same hate.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, but the reason I love this is because, it takes somebody with the initiative, the energy, and the organization skills, right? To kind of pull everybody together. And then, kind of add some structure to it. And so I think that's what you're doing, right? And it adds so much value to people to, give them a platform where it's access, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone probably needs a connector in their life to solve many problems, but I'm just a connector for startups of like, what do you need? Do you need to hire interns? Do you need to like find a graphic designer to make a logo? Do you need to hire your first developer? Like, I'd like to think that a lot of people consider me the first person to call, and typically it's not that hard for me to send an email connection to the person to answer the question.
Oh, no doubt. And you made some connections for me. Like,
Really?
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So quick story. I'm just telling you the power of like connections. I mentioned earlier our ideal referral partner is an IT company, right, or an IT consultant. So she connected me with a gentleman who was opening an office here in Nashville. He's based in Memphis, and we've been going back and forth. We had lunch last week. So we're working on some things now. But that's just the power of that, and I can tell you stories of how I got introductions and made a ton of money or had an impact somewhere because of the connection. So what you're doing is powerful, and I think it's going to come back and help. I think it already is like benefiting you. It's just that sort of karma, coming back. So Zach, I'm interested to know, like, what's next for you, or what's around the corner, in terms of your career, or where do you see yourself 5 or 10 years from now? Like what?
Oh my God, okay.
I asked you a lot of questions.
You're asking me the
so let me ask you one question. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Running for mayor.
No, you're not
That's
cheating.
like a joke. I don't really know if that's a true aspiration, but that's what I tell people just because, I don't know, that'd be pretty sick. I have no idea what it takes. I have currently no political knowledge.
You're assuming that those who have become mayor, they do what it took as well.
I just joke. I'm starting my campaign now. I want to start my campaign 15, 20 years ahead of time, so I have a head start. But in all seriousness, I mean, the next thing is really, like, I've been lucky, like, I run this community, but it's sort of my baby, but I want it to live on for me, so I just hope that it exists in 5 years and it only grows, and the startup ecosystem here is bigger than better, and I hope to have, like, a guiding hand in shaping that, but, I mean, actually, we're creating the DAO so the organization can have more people influencing where it goes, what we do, how we make decisions, but, I just see myself continuing to grow the startup ecosystem. I see myself getting more and more access to capital. That's sort of my current big interest right now is the thing founders typically need the most is dollar bills. They need someone to fund their big idea. And so I'm building this platform and I'm trying to learn as much as I can about people who are willing to write checks into startups and how I can make those introductions possible.
So, I mean, do you have are you an entrepreneur, like, at heart? Do you feel like you'll start a business one day?
I'm like a really bad at making money entrepreneur. That's what I joke, I'm like a bad entrepreneur. That's cool.
Well, I mean,
I'm really good at doing
a lot of
fun
businesses are
stuff.
pre-revenue for a
I
minute.
have something that I want to pitch, like I have like a thing to say tonight.
Okay, give it to
Like
us.
at the end.
What you got? You have a pitch? Like,
I
an
have
idea?
something like I have something to promote. Like when celebrities go on a TV show to promote their movie, I have something.
Gotcha. So before we get to that, I'm interested to know what it is. Because you tell me a lot of stuff, and I don't think I heard about this.
Okay. This is not about tech. I'm actually, this month, June, I hosted like 4 different events. So it's been like I was a pitch competition and a workshop and a speaker. It's been a busy month. In July, I'm not hosting any tech events, okay? So you'll have to just stay tuned for August. The only thing I'm hosting is a 16-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah, I see.
This 16-year-old is my neighbor child, okay? Well, he's currently 15, and it is going to be lit. Do not worry, that is a children's birthday party.
It's going to be what? What did you say?
Lit. It's going to be a good time for all ages. And the reason we're really hosting this is, one, he asked for it. Last year I sent him to sleepaway camp, and this year he said he wanted a big birthday party, so I said, okay. But 2, it's actually a fundraiser to raise enough money for him to buy a car. So, what's going to be is, his name is Isaiah, it's a Battle of the Bands birthday bash. We will have an adult band be battling his high school marching band. Yes. And his high school marching band is at band camp right now, and their band camp is very loosely structured, so they are training for this appearance in front of an audience.
Where's it going to be?
It's my backyard.
Okay, that's fine.
I have a pretty cool backyard, though. And we've already raised, as of right now, $850. Our goal is $2,500 to buy, I don't know, maybe an 8-year-old Honda Civic, fingers crossed.
And you got $850 now? So far?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
In 48, I announced it 48 hours.
Put me down for 10, so then you got
Welcome to
$850.
come. It's a $25 ticket. Includes all the booze you can imagine, the food. My boyfriend is a chef, and he'll be making the food, so hopefully it'll be good. And an amazing spectacle. A party like no other.
So, what's the capacity of this party? How many people can you fit in your
Okay,
backyard?
don't worry, I know the 850. Most of the people who bought tickets are not attending. Like,
Okay,
they just
okay.
buy the tickets to.
But for real, like, what is the capacity? Because I've been to the party at your house.
We had like 40 people. We could have like 50 more. I want like 80 people.
And have you ever gotten neighbor complaints and stuff?
No, I live in Florida.
Wow.
They love it. They just come over.
That's crazy. Yo, so I went to, was that your birthday party I went to?
Yeah.
So I went to Zach's birthday party, and I walked in, and I was like, yo. This is like some real world stuff. But she
How about
got.
building community, professionally and personally, you know? I don't know what that is.
I mean, it was an organized party though, because you had Isaiah on the music, right?
MC.
And then you had somebody on the grill. You had somebody asking me, "Are you drinking?" like several times, you know. So I was like, I gotta run in the morning. You know what I'm saying? But
You like to delegate.
No, I love
Everyone
it.
has a role.
I love it. So what drives your work?
God, these are questions I need to like ponder at night some more. I think what drives my work probably the most is to have an impact on Nashville. Like having an impact on my own neighborhood, my own city is incredibly motivating to me just because I moved a lot growing up. I never really had a sense of place, and when I moved here, I was like, I'm done moving. Like I'm just gonna stay and like have roots and like build lasting friendships. And I want people to say like, hey, Zach did good things for Nashville. And so the startup thing is really just, like I love technology and I love crazy people starting companies, and it was like a missing piece. I was like, no one's really doing this. Like, it took me a while. It took me like 6 months to be like, no one's doing this. Okay, maybe I should do it, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Kind of tugging at you. Yeah. I mean, no, that's pretty cool. I think you've done some great work, and I'm just interested to see how it plays out, you know, in the
You're
next
so
few
sweet.
years.
Thank you.
No, and I feel you because like the things that you do, like for Isaiah and for the tech community, it's almost, it seems like it's very fulfilling to you. It's not like you're making money doing it, you know, you're raising money for Isaiah to get a car, you know what I'm saying?
I take a fee. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I think that it's like those are skills that can be continuously developed too, in order to be an entrepreneur, to be mayor. You know what I mean? So you know, when you run for mayor, you gotta raise money too. So
We'll see what the future holds. Like I said, I just want to leave a lasting mark on Nashville.
Yeah. So for the people in the room who are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, or even just business professionals, what type of advice would you give them as they go on their journey, trying to pursue certain objectives, especially since you engage a lot of entrepreneurs, you're building this community, you probably hear a lot of things, see a lot of gaps.
Yeah.
What would you advise folks in the room to start doing and focusing on?
I think the number one piece of advice, and as I've seen founders sort of go through their journey and like who succeeds and who doesn't, is being very willing to put yourself out there. So like I had a meeting with a friend yesterday who had a startup and it took off a little bit, but now he's doing something else and he's raising money, and it's super uncomfortable to ask people for money, and he's just cold outreach on LinkedIn, hitting it hard. Already raised like $500,000 in literally 2 weeks because he's not afraid to ask. Like he's not afraid to think like, what, this person is bigger than me, this is better than me, like I need a warm introduction. Like he's just like, let me shoot my shot, and I think that being a founder, the ones who always succeed are the ones who are just willing to put themselves out there and fail in such a unique way and be public about what they're building and what their successes are, but also what their failures are, and just not be led by fear, but led by opportunity.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love that. I remember, starting my company, and one of the things that motivated me to start my company was I saw people who had started before me, and I thought I was sharper than them. And really the foundation of that was they just believed in themselves. They just had to
People think
believe.
they can't do it, but it's all about like your mindset. Like I'm really into manifestation and like hippie stuff like that, and I think it's honestly
It's not hippie.
When I first moved to Nashville, I started working in that office right there, and I was like 22 years old. And I think, no joke, that I just started dressing like I was way more important than I actually was. And so people started like taking me more seriously. And I was joking with my friend that I feel like I manifested like bigger, better, literally like bigger girl jobs. Just from dressing the part, like believing that I could do it,
Well, you're doing a good job, proud of you, and keep doing what you're doing, keep inspiring us, and keep making it happen. Keep doing fulfilling work.
You want to take questions? Someone told me they want to ask you a question.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, we have a question here. Sarah, what's up?
So I after this, I would love to send you the link. It's on Eventbrite, and anyone who signs up, you'll also be getting updates. We record a lot of videos together, so I can show
What's
you.
the name of the party? Is there something they can search for on Eventbrite?
I'd probably have to go around. I mean, I'll stick around. And I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool. Because they don't have to attend to contribute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hey, my name is Otacon. I'm working on building a mental health related hardware and software startup. My question is for Haley. You're building something that is frankly very novel for the community, bringing people together, and this is not a free effort, right? This is not something that's easy for people to do, and you are truly a diamond in the rough to be able to bring people together. Sustainability is a huge question. What are the financial, social, as well as any other logistical things you would like help with from the rest of us to keep NashTech alive over the next decade?
Yeah. First of all, thanks so much for just the compliments. But like I said, so we're going to create a DAO, and so like as a group, we'll be kind of being able to vote on things in a different capacity. And I've had a hard time asking for help because I didn't think people really wanted to help me. So I'm currently learning how to ask for help. And so like other people are like, if there's something you want to build, there's a need you feel like needs to be solved, like you have to tell me, and then we can work on making it happen. And my skill sets are, community building, finding the right people, the team. I'm not always the like detailed person or the person who builds the website or manages the database. We'll just have to talk after a little bit more. I feel like we can nail down specifics.
Yeah, and it's a good question too, because you have a good traction with this organization. It's not like membership and people pay, and you have some resources to work with. I know you guys have gotten some sponsorship on a couple of events, but so maybe that's an avenue to kind of get resources to then fund some efforts for sustainability. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Hey, Chris Berry, I have a question regarding some of your graduates at your school.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges a year after being placed? Are they looking to come back and enroll to upskill? What are some of their challenges?
We don't have a lot of students don't necessarily come back. Luckily, I mean, software development is really an industry where no matter how much of an expert you are learning a significant amount on the job, because nothing you ever build is the same. So like that's the secret sauce of NSS, is that we don't teach people how to write code, we teach people how to learn how to write code. So we don't really see students come back, but I would say that the biggest challenge for them, actually I would say is imposter syndrome, is they are afraid to take that next jump, to get that next job that would probably double their salary, because they feel like they're still so new, like that they only went to boot camp, they didn't go to college, and other people went to college, and like it actually goes back to what we were talking before, it's about a mindset. So a lot of times when I talk to alumni, it's this feeling inside them that they can't do anything more, like they need to stay in their safe place, and I'm like, dude, you could go be making over 6 figures tomorrow if you just sent your resume out there and like really felt like it told people, I'm a great developer, you'll want to hire me. So it's a mindset. Our students are so talented, but they always have to believe that they're talented too.
It's a big part of it. Did we have one more question? I thought I saw another hand. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I'm Flyer. So I have a question. My question is, what can we do to volunteer? I have like 25 years solid IT experience. So how could I volunteer for your organization?
Awesome. Truth be told, we don't really have any volunteer opportunities right now, but perhaps we can talk after. It's sort of been like a one-woman show, plus like whoever shows up first, I like give tasks to, but we're formalizing more and more over time.
All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Demetrius, so I own a nonprofit. We have a Pathway to Success initiative program where we are helping students create that pathway to success. And just to kind of piggyback, we're getting tech IT is a big thing.
Yes.
You go 4 years, we get an economic degree. It's like, man, how do I want to change? I want to change careers, how I get through it. So I would be interested in where's your target, is it a target market for where your students are coming from? Because we would love to have a partner like yourself and say, hey, if you're interested in this, my daughter's 18, going to Nashville State, following my dad in information systems into Middle Tennessee State for computer information systems. She's black, female, double minority, in this big world of, dominated by people who she's intimidated by. Is there a certain market where you're fishing at to get the students?
Sure. A unique thing about NSS is we don't do any paid marketing. We're like exclusively word of mouth for our 2,000 alumni now. But when people ask like, what is your typical student? What's cool is that we have no typical student. I would say NSS is like a school for like misfits or like people who just didn't fit into these other career paths. But half of our students have college degrees, half do not. Half have professional, office job, collared shirt, work experience. Half have been just bartenders, musicians, forklift operators. It runs the gamut. And then our typical age is 25 to 35, like career transitioners, but we've had as low as 18, and we've had as high as, I had a student in his late 50s pretty recently just come through, and honestly, he got hired very quickly because he had a lot of career experience before NSS. But we do have our opportunity tuition. So about half of our students, like I mentioned before, they come for free and they only pay us back if and when they get the job. And that opportunity tuition is available to folks underrepresented in technology. So that's women, people of color, and veterans. And it's also available for anyone who demonstrates financial need. And like I said, it makes up almost half of our student body. Our goal is to sort of diversify the tech industry and also make it available to those who might not have it available. So I'm going to talk more. We work with a lot of organizations like Martha O'Brien Center and places like that on finding ways for their sort of clients to plug in with us.
I'll take one more question and then we'll wrap it up so we can make sure we end on time. Yes, ma'am.
I have more of a statement. I was going to back you up on that 90 to 94% placement rate for NSS. Hi, I'm Sydney. I'm a former NSS student and alumni. Hey, I was on an opportunity scholarship. I had no tech experience. I got hired a month before I graduated. I've worked consistently for the last 3 years. So that placement rate is real. It's not just something that they inflate. So I'm not a plant, and
Sydney really crushed. She's at Build Technologies, which is probably one of the sexiest, coolest tech companies in town to work for. I'm serious. All of our students want to go there. And
What do you do? What class did you take at NSS?
I was full stack development,
Okay.
full time, and now I teach part time. But I work full time at Built, and I work as a full stack engineer. I just recently moved into a new role doing internal developer advocacy, which I'll talk to y'all about if you want to talk to me afterwards. But it's too much to explain. But I just want to back you up.
Yeah, thanks, Sydney.
Thank you.
On top of that, our first engineer that we hired was out of NSS.
Wow.
He used to be the front of house engineer at Tootsie's.
No way.
Yeah, when he graduated, we hired him. He just did his 1 year. We took him to oath for like a steak the size of his head.
That's amazing.
So now that they made this,
Yeah.
I need to make my own statement as well. We're HBA, a cognizant company. We're specialized in robotic process automation. And we've hired 8 or 9 people.
Mhm.
From NSS?
He's interviewing right now. Yeah. What's up?
So the thing is that with Nashville Software School, that for the most part, even though we're very specialized in what we do, we help them through the interview process. It is everything that we designed specifically for NSS graduates that walk them through, and the interview process is designed to help them win and not the other way around. It is designed to walk them through the interview process, and as long as they have the mindset that they're going to be successful in this position, we'll hire them. And so far we've hired 7 people. Some of them actually moved to team lead position in a short period of time. We had a very low failure rate in that sense. It is all about your mindset, and I give you one instance that is, it kind of proved the opposite side of it. We had one of your graduates. She literally asked me on a phone call, on a screen phone call, that do you have another position if I fail that one? And that was the end of the conversation between us because the mindset wasn't there. She was already kind of preparing herself to kind of, fail the test that we had for her. And then she was kind of asking for a backup, which is not a good mindset. But then we have people who truly are engineers. They know how to, do Google search. All the solutions are out there. But what matters the most is to engineer the solution, put those pieces together, and come up with the bigger picture and the bigger kind of something that meets your client demand. So I think that's very important and really part of it.
I love it. We definitely can't have 3 plants in the room, so kudos to y'all. Y'all give it up for Zap. Appreciate it.